It is always sad to hear about layoffs, and you may be grappling with your own layoff, whether it was part of the package that Medtronic put forth or whether it was an actual early retirement that you took. Layoffs are no fun, but there's a couple elements that we can be working towards here with your wealth plan to make sure that the layoff is not going to hinder your overall wealth plan. That's what we want to take a look at today, taking a look at all of the different sources of income, take a look at the package deal that you have, as well as ways to be working with your wealth in the future to make sure that you have the necessary income that's going to sustain you all of retirement. There is a lot to consider when it comes to your overall retirement. Now, if you have already retired from Medtronic or already taken a package deal, then your choices have already been made and are a little bit more limited at this point. But if you have a voluntary layoff package that you are presented with, you need to know some of the options that you have available. And those options pertain to anything related from pensions to your 401k to all of your stock options, as well as some of your healthcare benefits. So let's dive into those details so that you are at least aware of the benefits that are presented to you and how they may affect your overall wealth plan. Let's start by talking about your pension. Now, your pension is something that you have a couple different pensions through the years from Medtronic, and the one that you may have may be different than the one that I'm talking about. So I'm going to be speaking in generalities here. When it comes to your pension, again, the part of the plan that Medtronic is offering is the fact that it's going to come down to your age and years of service if you're eligible to take your plan when you retire. Now, as part of the voluntary layoff packages, Medtronic has done a good job to really work with the people that are eligible to receive a pension, as well as the ones that are eligible to retire. So most likely they're going to coincide where they'll actually match up, and when you retire, you'll be able to take your pension. Now, should you take your pension? That's the other element that you need to be wary of and actually look into. So go again to net benefits and you can be looking at all of the information and part of your own personal pension, and if you have that additional amount that's going to be added to it. Now, that additional amount again is coming back to your years of service and how much can be added to it to get you to what would be your retirement age. So when you take a look at your benefits and take a look at them, you need to understand again your own personal situation with your income and overall wealth, if it's going to be tax advantageous for you to do it, to take it now. And if you are younger than 65 years old, you can actually defer taking your benefits. Now, there are reasons to do that. Again, it comes back down to maybe taxes and how you can save taxes today, tomorrow, and in the future by deferring them. Or it can also come back down to maybe there's some different elements of part of your plan that you need to be taking money from other elements, or you actually have different things that are going to be basically vesting this year, like stock options, that it may be worth it for you to postpone taking your pension. But here's the thing, there are some risks associated with that as well. One of them is that the pension amount may change. And this is something that Medtronic wants you to be aware of, that it doesn't have to be exactly the benefit that they're offering you today. If you defer it, it may change in the future. Well, it also comes back down to the fact that if you are 65 and older, you don't have actually a choice in the matter here either. You have to be taking the pension when you retire. So those are some things to be considering here and to be understanding and aware of. But the best thing is that the vesting schedule, like I said, in general, is going to be such that when you take the layoff package, not only may you actually have an additional amount added to your pension, but you may actually have a fully vested pension so you can take it immediately. And if you need the income, that would be a great strategy to start employing. Next thing that we want to be discussing is medical. Now, with respect to medical, it's much like your pension that you may actually have the ability to have an additional amount added to your retiree medical plan. So what this means is that Medtronic will be adding money to your plan, and you can again take a look at your net benefits to see if this is something that may be a part of your package deal. But this additional amount of money that Medtronic may be putting part of your plan can either go, if it's prior to you turning 65 towards retiree medical as part of your overall health plan itself, or if you are over the age of 65, then it can be used towards your Medicare premiums and payments as well. So there's a lot of uses for this money. Now, obviously, it's not going to cover all of your expenses, but it's going to be an additional amount that can be very helpful. So what we need to look at here is, with that additional amount, what's going to be the best option for you? Now, to know, no matter what, you have Cobra as an option. So this is something now that if you need more time to make choices, decisions, and actually be looking at what's going to be best for you and your family, Cobra may be a very good option to at least have a period of time where you know you have benefits. So there's going to be a continuation of the benefits that you had. Now, it may or may not be the cheapest option to you, but it is a good option that you need to be considering, at least in the short term, to get you through until you can make the good options that are appropriate for where you're at. So with that in place, now you can be taking a look at, if you are 65 and younger, should you be actually going on to, say, the exchange? Or if you are 65 and older, are you going to be going on to Medicare? So when you take a look at those different options, you're going to want to choose the ones that are going to be the best possible fit for you and your family. So to do that, take a look at not only the overall cost, but then what is actually going to be paid out, the uses of the medical, whether you're going to need to have more out-of-pocket expenses coming this year, and so you want a higher premium and a lower deductible, or if you want to flip them around. You have the ability to choose. And when you take a look at medical, the best thing to do here is actually, well, make sure that you have medical. And if you are of Medicare age, is to make sure that you have the plan and the coverage that's going to be right for you. Now, there are many, many different options here, which is why when you take a look at the money that's going to be added potentially to your overall package deal, you have the ability to take Cobra, so now you can make an informed decision. So seek out a specialist here that's going to be able to help you with making that decision, because that will be one of the best decisions you can make as part of your overall retirement, so that you know that you and your family are taken care of no matter what happens. Now, while you're taking a look at your pension as well as your health benefits, there's another element that you should be doing when you are looking at all the details of should you retire and the ways you're going to be retiring. That comes back down to your beneficiaries as well. So when we take a look at your pension, go into the beneficiaries of your pension and make sure that they align with the ones that you want. So if you have a spouse, make sure that your spouse is listed. If you have children that are on there, make sure that your children are listed as part of your contingent beneficiaries, or even your primary beneficiaries, depending on what you want and how you want your money distributed. Because part of your pension options then could come back down to, do you want a period certain, which case it would pay out no matter what to either your spouse or to your children or grandchildren, as it may be. But all of this comes back down to the beneficiaries. So make sure that you have the correct beneficiaries as part of your pension. Now, while you're on there as well, take a look at your Medtronic savings and investment plan, because we want to make sure that the beneficiaries on there are, again, what you want. So they don't have to be the same as the pension, just know that. But we want to make sure that if you have changes that are needed, then now is the time to go in and make those changes. Maybe it's the fact that you want to be moving around who's going to be primary or contingent beneficiaries. Maybe you have wanted to make changes to actually put money towards charity or going to other avenues. But now is a great time to review your overall beneficiaries on your plan to make sure that they're correct based upon your wishes. So do this as part of just the overall plan, and whether you're going to consider taking the plan layoff or not, now is a great opportunity to check out your beneficiaries. I know you have a lot to consider when it comes to whether you should be taking this voluntary layoff package or not. But know this, that there's a window of time for you to elect to take the voluntary layoff package or to actually defer and to not take the benefit in the package deal. Now, to know that and to know what your time frame is, go to net benefits, and on there, as part of your overall layoff package, they're going to have your window of opportunity basically right there for you, and the time frames that you need to know in order to choose whether you are going to take the package or not. So you need to be aware of that so that you don't want to take the package but wait too long and then have the decision made for you. Now ultimately, if you choose to take the layoff package, there's going to be a date that you have to retire by. So it's going to be another element for you to consider. Not only if you want to take the package, if you're doing it in the correct time period, but then should you be taking it and retiring in the time frame that Medtronic wants you to. So just be aware of that. Again, you can go to net benefits to find all of the information there. As we're going through the plan, another element that we want to be aware of and considering comes back down to the insurances. Now, we've been actually talking a lot about health insurance already, just based upon what Medtronic is going to do to possibly add money to your plan. But when it comes back down to the decision, you need to be actually taking a look at not only your age, but what's going to be most important for you. So again, to recap here, go look at the possibility of taking Cobra just to get you through temporarily, but then you may be going on to an exchange, or you may want to be going on to Medicare based upon your age as well. But having a professional that's going to help guide you is going to be very beneficial. And there are many, many really good professionals that know what they're doing, know what they're talking about, and are going to be able to help you to guide you through the process of having additional health care, not only for yourself, but for your family. So know that as well. But there's another insurance that you may have forgotten. And this is one that you may actually still need: life insurance. You see, life insurance you may have had through Medtronic. Now that's a group policy that will go away when you retire. So you will actually not have that life insurance coverage when you retire, which means now may be a great opportunity for you to determine additional amounts that you may need. Well, actually, do you still need life insurance? And then where to get that coverage. So there may be another defined period of time that you need life insurance, and that can be done through a term policy. That's going to be a very cheap option to do. But there may be some other avenues for you to consider now. One of them may be estate planning. And should you have a higher amount of life insurance as a permanent policy to pay for taxes? Well, there's going to be, again, other elements that you want to be considering with life insurance as well. One of them would come back down to what we call the income in respect to the decedent tax. This would be in case something happened to you and you had to pass on your Medtronic savings and investment plan. Well, that may be going to your children, and there's going to be a tax that would be associated with that for them receiving that account. And in the first couple of years that they receive the account, they will need to be paying tax on that money. So life insurance can actually be very useful in this manner to pay that tax. So there's going to be some other elements for you to be considering, but don't overlook life insurance as part of your overall strategy right now. And you may actually want to be gathering more life insurance based upon not only your age, based upon what you want for taxation, what you need for estate planning, as well as how do you want to protect your spouse and your children and grandchildren in the future. And speaking of your Medtronic savings and investment plan, now is the time to determine if you're going to be taking money out of your plan. Now, the first thing to obviously be aware of here is that as part of the overall layoff package, you have vested schedule that has been fully vested as part of your 401k plan. But it still comes back down to your age. Are you under 59 and a half? Then it comes back down to the IRS, and you may have a penalty assessed for distributions out of your plan. So that is obviously something to be aware of. Now, this may or may not happen to you, so this is where you need to be working with a tax consultant to know the specific details of your overall personal plan. But if you're under 59 and a half, you do have access to it, but it may or may not have an IRS penalty associated with it. Now, that penalty obviously is different and will go away over the age of 59 and a half. So then you have the ability to take money out of your Medtronic savings and investment plan without that penalty. But you still have the tax that would be owed on it. Now the tax is going to change. If you have Roth contributions, well, that may be tax-free. If you have non-deductible contributions, that also may be subject to a change of taxation. But if the majority of your money, or the money that you want to take, is in that traditional pre-tax 401k piece, then that may be subject to ordinary income. And if you have different streams of income, whether it's still working income from this year, whether it is additional benefits, part of your pension, or other sources, you may actually now be having a greater amount of tax this year than what you may have in prior years. So be wary of how and when you're going to be taking money out of your 401k in the year you retire, because it may actually negatively affect your overall taxes. So just be aware of that as well as you're starting to put together your plan in place. But just know that the vesting schedule has been accelerated, so the money is vested. It just comes back down to IRS rules if you have the ability to take the money out or not. Hey, it's Nathan Krampe, and I create these videos because you are likely very ambitious when it comes to your overall wealth plan, but you know there's more out there. And with your layoff, you want to make sure that your family's taken care of, that you're taken care of. And so you want to look at your income streams as well as your overall wealth plan to make sure that you are going to be set up correctly for the future. Now that's what we're taking a look at today. But remember this, you are not alone. Others want to be learning more about how their layoff is going to affect their overall wealth plan as well. So do me a favor, like this video so that others may find it, as well as subscribe to our channel so that you may be kept up to date on future ideas, tips, and tricks that are going to benefit your overall wealth plan. You've also been doing a great job of putting money into your employee stock purchase plan over the years as well. So this is a great opportunity and way for you to have bought Medtronic stock over the years. Now the nice thing here is that, again, the vesting schedule is going to actually accelerate so that the money that you have put in over the last couple of years has been vested. So that vesting schedule is gone. But again, just like your 401k, it comes back to, should you take the money out based upon the IRS? Now, if you are in the first 2 years that you have purchased your ESPP shares, well, you may actually have some adverse tax consequences with the IRS, and you may not get the full benefit of those shares. Now, what I mean by that is it comes back down to short-term capital gains versus long-term capital gains. And if it's short-term capital gains, that's taxed as ordinary income in whatever tax bracket you are in. But if it's long-term capital gains, now we have the ability, and again, this is after that 2-year window, to put money and take money out of it either on a 0% bracket, 15% bracket, or the 20% bracket. So there actually may be some great tools and strategies to employ with your stock purchase plan shares. But to know when you have bought them over the years and to know when you should be taking them out, that's part of the tax planning you should be doing. So you've seen all the elements that come together here, whether it's health, whether it is part of your Medtronic 401k plan, whether it's your pension plan if you have one, and your ESPP shares. All of those can come back together and be very useful for you in retirement. But to know the taxation is going to be vitally important to know how they're going to actually be beneficial for you today as well as in the future. But just know that the vesting of those has been accelerated so that they are vested. It just comes back down to the IRS and your own personal taxes. Now, in talking about your income, also know that it comes back down to your incentive plan as well. You see, if you are choosing to retire after the fiscal year, you actually still may receive your incentive plan payout. Well, that is going to be great news and something you can be counting upon if you meet the criteria. So if you are going to be retiring after the fiscal year and meet the requirements for age and eligibility, you still actually may be receiving those incentive plan payouts. So know that that may actually be coming in the next couple of months as part of your overall plan. So when you take a look at your income streams, that may be one that is going to be coming in for this year, and maybe that extra cushion to get you through not only the planning stages, but the coming up and figuring out with the what's next part of your retirement or your overall life stage. Another element of your income comes back down to your equity awards, or your restricted stock options and your non-qualified stock options that you have. Now, this is going to be vitally important to understand, and as part of your package deal, you may actually have those vested sooner than what they would have been if you had continued to keep working. So it's called an accelerated vesting schedule. Now, if you have RSUs, they may actually be paid out sooner than what you had been thinking. So as part of, if you have your MIP, your incentive plan, and part of some of the other income coming in, you may actually have some of your RSUs being paid out as well. So again, these are all streams of income, and likely most all of them will be ordinary tax. So this actually is going to probably push you up this year for your taxation in the event that it goes beyond where you were last year for your income. But know that if you're taking a look at all of these different streams of income that are coming in, the RSUs may be there, or you may actually have some stock options coming due this year as well, or others that you have the potential to vest and to exercise this year. And again, with your non-qualified stock options, you have a lot of choice available to them of how you invest, exercise them, and how you're actually going to be using them as part of your income. So it may actually be worth it to maybe buy the shares and hold them for the future, or it may actually be beneficial to you to do a cashless exercise. All of these come back down to your tax planning and your income needs for this year. But the nice thing is that you have the options to choose now. That is the ability that Medtronic is giving you by having an accelerated vesting schedule with respect to your equity options. Now that you know which income streams are going to be there for you this year, whether it is stock options, whether it's your incentive plan, your payout that's going to be happening part of your pension, or other streams that are going to be coming in over the course of this year, now you can start to relate that to your overall income. And when you take a look at the other strategies you have, maybe you want to be taking from your savings and investment plan, or your IRA account, or even the Roth accounts, or some of your savings. You see, all of those strategies mean something different to your taxes. And if you're going to be having a lower tax bracket this year, or even a higher tax bracket this year. Now, as you can probably guess, there may be some abilities that you have a higher tax bracket this year, just based upon all the different payouts that are going to be happening. So what we want to be looking at then are some of the other elements that are going to come back to where you should be taking income from if you need additional income streams. Well, again, that comes back down to a couple different elements, whether it's the Roth accounts that you have, or even some of your savings to supplement your income for this year. Now, obviously, this is something different if you choose to continue working, or if you choose to just sidestep and go for work at another company. You may actually not have to really take money from your savings or from the other accounts. But if you are looking to retire, just know that you have the ability to take from some of these other accounts as well if you meet all of the criteria, especially for some of the Roths, and especially based upon your age, if there's going to be IRS penalties or not. So take a look at those different details now as part of your plan, and you can be actually putting an income strategy in place. And it doesn't have to be just for this year. When you do an income strategy, now we take a look at not only this year, but we take a look at the years in the future. And every year we can start mapping out where your income starts coming from. And speaking of income, Social Security is a big piece of this as well. Should you take it early and claim it around 62? Or should you defer till your full retirement age, or even wait and take it at a later point in time at age 70? That is also a consideration that it comes back down to your income as well, and one that you need to be not only aware of, but making the correct decision. You see, when it comes to Social Security, there's something that you may not be considering. It's going to be one of the largest assets that you have. Now, why do I say that? Because when you take a look at your savings and investment plan, your 401k, when you take a look at the equity in your house, or you take a look at even your pension plan, all of those are great. But one of the largest assets that you're going to be having now through all of retirement comes back to Social Security. And sadly, more people spend more time planning their summer vacations than they do looking at their overall Social Security benefits and how to maximize them. But not you. I want you to be prepared. So what you can do here is go to ssa.gov, so the Social Security Administration, and you can be taking a look at your own personal benefits. So what this is going to do is take a look at all the different 35-year history, the top 35 years that you have for your benefits, and it's going to show you those benefits at age 62 all the way through age 70. Now, if you want to do this correctly, first of all, take a look at those high 35, and if you see any zeros in there, maybe that means that you may want to go working part-time to replace some of those zeros. Because what that will do then is increase your benefit, because even if you replace one of those zeros with, say, a $10,000 a year income or a $20,000 a year income, something very mild, that can also increase your benefits significantly. Take a look at that. And if you are married and have a spouse, have your spouse take a look at his or her benefits as well. So when we start planning for your Social Security, now we can start taking a look at what the benefits are. Then you can go to a tax calculator, Social Security calculator, I should say, and take a look at when your break-even points are going to be. And break-evens mean when it's going to be more beneficial for you to take your money early, or if you should defer claiming your benefits until later on, either closer to age 70 or at age 70. Now what this does is maximizes your benefits. So you know when you should be taking your overall Social Security, because again, you have some of the other elements, whether it's your 401k, whether it's some savings, whether if you have a pension plan, all of those come into play. But your Social Security, if you are single, you can take over $500,000 out of Social Security. If you are married, you're going to be claiming most likely over $1 million from Social Security. So you will become a Social Security millionaire just because of your benefits. But learning the correct benefits and ways to maximize those benefits is going to be very helpful for this junction of time. So this all comes back down to when and how you should be making your retirement decisions as part of your layoff package. Now, if you need some help in this area, as well as the other areas of navigating retirement, feel free to reach out, because we would be happy to put together a Social Security plan and projection for you, as well as an income plan and projection for you. Now, we do this as part of what we call a discovery meeting and a gap finder meeting. So those two meetings, we look at where you're at today, where you want to go in the future, and then we start to fill in those gaps. And whether that's Social Security, whether that's income, or whether that's looking at your overall wealth strategy and how you want to be using your strategy to benefit your family, benefit your community, benefit the ones you care about. Putting that strategy in place is going to be very helpful, especially with estate planning, tax planning, and all of the different planning that goes into retirement. So know this, take a look at your Social Security benefits, maximize them, and you are actually going to be well on track to help improve your overall retirement in the future. Now that you have your plan in place for income, now we need to actually be looking at other avenues of planning as well. Should you be doing Roth conversions? Now, Roth conversions are going to take money from your IRA accounts and your traditional 401k accounts and convert or transition them into the Roth or tax-free accounts for the future. Now, this is also something that comes back down to taxes. That's going to be the biggest element here. And you can utilize this year, especially if you are going to be in a lower tax bracket this year than maybe future years, to do Roth conversions, to take money out of those pre-tax plans and put them into something that will grow tax-free. Now again, this strategy can really affect your overall wealth plan by hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially, and sometimes I've even seen over $1 million change and to better your overall wealth plan just by making some changes to Roth conversions. So this is, again, something that you need to be looking at as part of should you retire or not, because if you are actually going to be having a lower tax impact this year because of the decision to take the layoff package, now may be actually a time to take and do a Roth conversion. As I've alluded to before, you may not be ready to retire, and it may actually be more beneficial for you to keep working. Well, you don't necessarily have to keep working for Medtronic or full-time even. You could actually choose to work part-time as well. And what that will do is actually have some level of satisfaction knowing that you're going to be doing what you want to be doing and the joy that you're getting with the work that you're doing. But it'll increase your Social Security benefits, possibly because it may replace one of those high 35. You're going to have more income, so less you need to be taking out of your plans this year, as well as the fact that now you have the ability to put money into savings also. So there's a lot of elements to say that even though you may be retiring from Medtronic, you actually have the ability to put money aside or to use money for additional income just by having a part-time position. Whether you take it this year or next year is up to you. But that also comes back to something that you should be considering with part of taking the retirement package plan. Should you? Are you able to? And do you want to keep working even part-time? Last element that comes back to income revolves around the incomes and how much do you need. Now I say need, not want. Needs come back down to food, gas, cell phone bills, mortgage, all of the elements that you need to be paying out on a yearly basis, monthly basis, just to maintain your lifestyle. Now, what the math and the science dictate is that you have to have guaranteed lifetime income. So that's in the form of a pension. Well, we've talked about your pension. That's in the form of Social Security. We've also talked about Social Security. Now, if those cover your needs, then you don't need to go out and get additional sources of income that are guaranteed. But if they don't, what the math and the science say that in order to have a better probability of success, then the money you have is going to not only last all of retirement, but going to be there for you at any point in time, comes back down to actually having another source of income, another guaranteed lifetime income stream in the form of an annuity. Now, I understand annuities may not be something that you have thought about in the past, or it may be something that you have some negative connotations. But know this, that your happiness is most likely going to improve. Your stress level is most likely going to come down just by making sure that you have guaranteed lifetime income from those three sources: a pension, Social Security, and if you need to, an annuity to help pay for all of your needs in retirement. Now it just comes back down to your wants, and that's where your other sources of wealth, income come into play, and how you can be enjoying that, and all the travel, all of the enjoyment with the grandkids, anything that you want to be doing as part of retirement. Now, when we put all of this together, we take a look at your probability of success. Now, how we can be working to improve your probability of success comes back to a number of those ways we've already talked about. But when we know your base level, where you're at today with your probability of success, then you can actually start to make changes that are going to be beneficial. So maybe if you want to start taking more money today to go on some travel, to buy a second house, do the things that you want to do now that you have the time and the ability to do so, may be very helpful. Or maybe it's such that we want to be working a little longer. Maybe it's such that you want to be finding other ways and other tools to improve your overall wealth plan and that probability that you have not only money for all of retirement, but that you can be working with your estate plan, that you can be transferring money to your children, your grandchildren appropriately. Maybe you want to be employing a charitable giving strategy. All of that comes back down to your wealth plan. But what you can see is that we started talking about Medtronic and taking the layoff package, but that's morphed into how that works with your overall wealth plan. And that's what we want to be conveying today. That it's not just about should you take the package deal or not, if it's going to be helpful or not, but how does that work into all the different elements of your wealth plan? And that alone is going to be something that you need to be doing a little bit of planning about. But know that window of opportunity is short to make this decision. And if you need help, if you need some additional advice as to should you take the plan or not, and how does that relate to your overall wealth plan, feel free to reach out. We would be happy, not only myself, but my team, to go through and talk through your position and where you are going to be in the future based upon taking this package deal. Because you made it this far in the video, I want to celebrate you. You see, we've talked a lot today about should you take the layoff package and what you need to be looking at in order to make an informed decision. But I also talked about working with myself and my team in order to do so. Now, how you do that is by clicking the link below this video. And what I'm offering you is a special one-on-one consultation. Now, in this consultation, we'll be going through the discovery meeting and really understanding what's important to you. Then we will actually be talking through should you be taking the package deal based upon that information and any gaps that exist. So this is a two-part meeting, and this will be complimentary for watching this video and taking action by clicking the link below this video. And I look forward to seeing you in the discovery meeting to understand should you be taking part in this voluntary layoff package deal or not. For more tips and tricks on ways you can be improving your overall wealth plan, I've hand selected this video right here.